Hey guys, thanks for joining us again on Love is for Everyone. We're excited to have Jacob back as we missed him last week when we were on the episode with Danielle. We kind of ended up that episode talking about her school life, her mental health, and how she copes with it during school, and kind of what it's like to be an online student right now, because, well, none of us were experiencing that or are experiencing that.
Yeah, we all dropped out before that.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool to just get that perspective and stuff. But we ended that episode kind of cutting Nate short off on like his mental health experience, and that's where we're going to dive in today. I think that's like really kind of where we left off, so where we should start.
Yeah.
Right? So we're really excited about this, just to kind of share Nathan's perspective and his reflection. Do you want to kind of speak for yourself here?
Yeah, sure. So we're starting with my childhood then?
Yeah, just tell them kind of more or less what you're about, who you are. Give them a better perspective.
How'd you become you?
Yeah.
Well, that's a long story. But,
exactly. That's
we
why
got time for it,
we're
right?
here for it.
Yeah, I'll start when I was a kid. I was a pretty shy kid. I didn't really understand how to socialize with kids my own age. Like, I had no problem talking to adults, but I just wasn't a very social kid with people my own age. Like, I remember back in kindergarten at recess and stuff, like, I kind of just did my own thing, and I hung out with my lunch monitors, because I thought they were cute, but that was before, like, I knew I liked girls, I guess, but, so yeah, and kind of just a very curious kid, I guess, and I knew from a young age that I have a color deficiency, so I had the realization pretty young that I see the world differently than other people, like in a literal way. So I was just kind of always kind of thought, like, how do other people see reality? And another thing from my childhood that has always been like a curious question into spirituality and stuff, and just about religion in general. So when I was 3, I was just in the car with my mom, and I just randomly said, "Mommy, one day there'll be no roads and the angels are going to come back down." So,
shit.
I would freak out if I was a parent. My kid just said that randomly.
Yeah, so it did freak my mom out, and then we went to church back then, and they were just kind of asking, like, the pastor about it and stuff, and he basically just said to them, yeah, sometimes God talks to people, more or less, so that's why I've always been really open and curious just about learning about the universe and just the bigger questions in life, and so those two things in itself have been the main source of my curiosity in my life, and just trying to figure out what reality is, I guess.
That's what's so cool about kids, though, is they're so open-minded, and they can, like...
Oh, I love it. I love playing with kids.
It's just crazy, like, when you interact with them and just let them be in their own space and see what they can do or see what they get up to.
The imagination, like, I try to think, like, I've tried to keep my imagination, like, I guess you work out your imagination to keep, like, those muscles in your brain active, but when you're around like a 3-year-old, like 3-4-year-old, there's nothing that compares to their brain and what they're just coming up with randomly. It's
their curiosity, kind of like what you said, man. Like, nobody just
randomly
like
adults don't just randomly say that kind of stuff. Yeah, and that's before kids are, well, the more programmed you get, then the less that you're gonna be open-minded, I guess, to certain things, because when you're a child, you just try to earn your parents' love. So if you're saying that kind of stuff around your parents, then they might just kind of brush it off, and that's what ends up closing a lot of kids off to that kind of line of thinking, I guess, which is unfortunate, but society's starting to change in that way, fortunately, so that's always good.
Like, more on reflection, when did you start, like, as a child, experiencing, like, mental health? And, like, how severe were you, like, I don't know, getting...
anxiety and stuff?
Beat up by it? Or were you even aware? Because I know, like, a lot of people that I talk to about their like experience with anxiety, they've had it all along, and like
they just didn't know.
They didn't know. They weren't consciously like
they couldn't
aware.
identify it. I guess. Yeah.
Well, it's also become a lot more socially acceptable to talk about it.
Yeah.
Which makes our job a lot easier. But yeah, if you want to dive into that more.
Yeah, I always had some anxiety as a kid, but I think that mainly came from being an empath and just being susceptible to other people's energies and not being aware of that. So just you're feeling the energy in the room, but you don't know that you're feeling that. So I think that's where a lot of it came from for me. And then getting bullied a little bit at school and stuff. Like two stories, like when I was younger in public school, 2 stories stick out to me. One was I don't know if you remember the like BUM like company. It was probably like a Walmart brand or something, but I had like
it said bum.
yeah, but I think there might have been like the dots in between it, but yeah, I got like made fun of that.
Oh, okay.
At school one time, and
was it on your shirt or something? Like
no, it was on a hat.
Oh, okay.
So
but it's like the kind of like off-brain Gap kind of thing. Almost.
Yeah, I guess. Like I don't even think that company exists anymore. To be
long.
Probably not.
Cause of childhood trauma.
Yeah. And then another incident was I was on the school bus coming home, and I got if anyone doesn't know what it's called, an Indian sunburn. It's where you just rub on somewhere on. Usually on like the forearm. Yeah. And so I got like an Indian sunburn for most of the bus ride home, and I didn't even cry.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So
oh wow.
I was a tough kid. Like I thought crying was like a sign of weakness. So. Yeah, I've always known from that experience is like I can handle a lot of shit, and it's like that didn't even make me cry, and that's part of why it was hard for me to understand like other people's low pain tolerance. I guess is like that happened to me when I was like 6 or 7. I didn't even cry. So
my brother breaks his wrist. He doesn't cry. He takes 1 Advil. He goes to the hospital, gets it fixed up. I break my nail or like pull a joint or something, and I'm like. On the ground, like shaking.
World's ending.
Yeah.
My pain tolerance is brutal.
I remember one in high school. You're in my outdoor ed class, right? Yeah, you were. Remember that mountain biking trip we did?
Oh, wasn't that Wardo that broke his wrist?
I was right behind him, and he like kind of crashed into a tree. I felt bad after because he did break his wrist.
I think I was like 1 or 2 bikes ahead of him.
Like, yeah, it was like
I
you and Doug
seeing, like or hearing it and turning around and. I think he was fine at first. Like he thought he was.
He
okay.
was. That's why I laughed at first. I was kind of just like, "Are you good, dude?" He's like, "Yeah," and then I just kept going. So I thought he was fine. Then after, he's like, "Yeah, my wrist is broken."
Yeah, you had to go through those. It was like a stupid split tree. Like how stupid is that to put it
for
in
kids? I guess you guys were in high school.
But still, like I guess I'm not an avid mountain biker.
No.
But driving or riding your bike in between a split tree just seems stupid to me.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be basically perfect. And he just looked at the tree. You know, like when you're driving and you're looking at the side of the road, you start to drift to the side of the road. That's basically how he did it. He just looked at the tree and he just hit the tree.
Yeah, that would suck.
Anyways, back to you.
So just those 2 experiences stick out to me as a kid, and then when, like, during my parents' divorce and stuff, that was kind of the start of my mental health issues, I guess, as a kid. And
that's when you became aware of it, or?
Like, not even really aware of it. Well, I always kind of felt like I had, like, something wrong with me, per se, just that, and the fact that, like, I never really fit in with kids our age fully. But, yeah, I was definitely going through a lot of anxiety at that age, and anger for sure. And that, I guess the anger stemmed from when I was younger and my, like, just trying to earn love from my parents. And I also felt like growing up, like, didn't matter how good I did, like, they always kind of expected me to do better. Like, they expected me to get like an 80 average in school. Like, and which is fair as a parent, like when you know your kid can accomplish something that you expect them to do their best. But school for me, I would thought it was stupid right from kindergarten. Someone was like, what the hell is the point of this shit? So I just never put in my full effort because I thought it was dumb. And I knew I didn't have to try to get the marks that would shut my parents up, basically. It's like that's all. Like, I had so many... That was
my high school.
I had so many marks, honestly, in high school that were right on 80%.
Well, no, I decided to take, like, instead of staying in academic and going through, like, the university path, I just chose to do the applied and go college route because, well, I could make honor roll every year. I didn't have to try. I went to construction class, I had fun with the guys, and then, like, I just kind of slid through everything. I just got through high school. But
yeah, I was forced to take the Enrich program at the West, which is just a faster learning version of academic, and then I had to take uni courses in grade 11. Then after that year, I knew I'm definitely not going to university. I'm just not cut out for that. And then I dropped down to college level courses in grade 12, and I remember in math class, we were learning some things that I had learned in grade 9. I was kind of thinking to myself, like, what the hell did these kids learn the last 3 years? Like, it was bad, dude.
Oh, yeah. We read in grade 10 a graphic novel version of Macbeth in applied English class.
I don't know why they expect kids to learn about Shakespeare in high school. Like that, just how dated that language is, I don't think it makes sense for kids that age to even learn about it. Especially the story of Romeo and Juliet. Like, that's giving kids a pretty twisted version of romance. Like, it's pretty fucked up.
You also don't really retain it. Like, how many, do you actually remember getting taught Shakespeare, like, in public school? Like,
in high school, yeah.
Yeah, but high school's a little different. You can retain it, you can learn it from a different perspective because you're kind of learning about yourself around that same time, you know?
I just think
whether you like it or not, I think that's what a lot of high school is, and why they throw a lot of bullshit in your face is because they're trying to figure out what you do like. But a lot of people, especially in this era with, you know, instant access to, you know, your interests on Google or whatever, they're finding out who they are and what they like by the time they are in high school now.
Exactly.
So, I mean, as far as, you know, even university, I had to wait until my third year before I could start picking classes, like my entire course code.
Really?
Until third year, yeah. Wow. I was still in classes that I had no interest in university. Like, so it's just, school is not for everybody, but we shouldn't shit on it in a sense that, because, like, there are people that do take the academics very seriously and are very intelligent because of the school system.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's hard to look at it that way because all of us are programmed in the sense of, you know...
If we want to know something, we
you know, do it ourselves kind of thing. Learn it ourselves, and we kind of do better that way, where there's, you know, like I just said, people the opposite.
Yeah, that was my biggest frustration, like, being in, like, once I got to college, they basically just lie to you when you're in high school. They're like, oh, it's very specific to your program once you're in college. It's like, what a load of shit, honestly. I had at least 4 or 5 pointless classes when I was in college. Is like, I showed up to maybe
college,
a third of them.
You never get to pick, like, your classes, like, even you got to in third year, but all our classes, other than maybe electives, are already pre-chosen for us. Yeah. And even then, electives, you may have to pay extra for the electives and other things if there's certain... Because I remember I could have done a Hockey Hall of Fame course, but it was like an extra $300 to do it.
I would have paid for it.
I debated it. It was a long process of debating that.
Encyclopedia, though.
Yeah. You
know all that stuff, and that's what I mean. There's courses like that do apply to some people and spark their interests. And I don't know, schools, like, I don't know. Let's get back on track.
Yeah,
I feel like we've gotten a little lost in conversation. We need to get back on more of the serious topic of why we're doing this. We're supposed to be advocating mental health, and that's what we want to be doing. So let's talk about your mental health. I know a lot of it stemmed from the divorce.
Yeah.
Because that's when we kind of became really close, was when you kind of came to Camborne. and then years after, you build that relationship, and that shit kind of shakes you.
Yeah, for sure. I was at Camborne for a couple of years before my parents split up, but yeah, it was definitely just a huge shock at that age, because, I mean, if you grow up with parents, like, you think whatever your parents do is normal, and that might be what other parents do, but you don't realize, like, how unhealthy their relationship was. So just kind of growing up with that dysfunctional relationship is kind of hard on you, like, seeing your parents fight and stuff, and then the shock factor of when they finally did break up, like, I didn't see it coming at all. And then that, it definitely made me have trust issues big time, or just in general, just trusting men
That's
or
going
women.
right out of the gate, man. Like, God's like, here you go, trust issues in your bag before you even are in a relationship or meeting, like, your really lifelong friends or anything. He's just like, trust issues, gone, here. Added to your personality.
Another weight in the bag.
Yeah. And that's tough to deal with, man. So, like, talk about that reflection and talk about how you kind of grew from that, because obviously your ability to trust people has gained immensely.
Yeah, in some ways, but I'm still closed off in a lot of ways and also, like, I'm just kind of fine doing my own thing, so I don't feel the need really to make new friends, because I'm loyal to the friends that I do have, and the friends I have are loyal to me. So I just don't really go out of my way to make too many new connections. But circling back to, like, the anxiety and depression, and then just being in high school and, kind of getting made fun of and stuff, and just, again, feeling that energy from people and not being aware of that at that age. So that was tough on me. And just having hockey was perfect for me for taking my anger out, for sure. It was great.
I smirked, sorry. I couldn't hold in that laugh.
We all know you were just a heavy hitter.
Third line grinder, just out to piss people off.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it was fun. That's how I like playing hockey. I was like, I literally enjoyed hitting more than scoring goals, because it just felt like that was a way for me to kind of take my power back over, like, in my own situation, I guess. So
it's a really interesting perspective how, like, school and lifestyle can really bottle up, and it just, like, pours out onto the ice like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then, I wasn't, like, I guess I might have been a little bit depressed, but not really been aware of it. I just kind of had an underlying sense of not being content with life, just because I hated being in school so much, and I just wanted to be out of it. And then your family kind of forcing you to go down into the college path that I didn't really want to take. And I did enjoy, at the time I did think I wanted to be a personal trainer and stuff, and I did enjoy learning about the human body and stuff like that. But then after I dropped out of school and I was shoveling snow for work, and it sucked, but I was literally thinking, as I'm out in the middle of, like, a 10 to 12 hour shift, is like, this really sucks, but I'm honestly happier right now than I was when I was in school. So that's pretty much a reflection of how much I hated school. So
it's also a really good reflection on, like, how money doesn't drive happiness, right?
Oh, exactly.
Or even education, or having a label on, like,
material things, kind of.
When you meet somebody and you go, oh, hey, what do you do? I think the questions should start to turn to be like, hey, how do you feel doing today?
More,
And you see that a lot on TikTok. I know you're not the biggest fan of that, and this is your episode, so we'll keep this short. But TikTok is a really good platform for those kind of motivational things, where I see more females doing that. Like the interpersonal videos where they're asking how you're doing and stuff. But that's more shit that we need. We need more positivity like that, and I love to see it. Honestly, keep it going, keep it rolling. We need all the positivity in the world right now, because there's so many people struggling.
I think the toughest time in my life was when I was in my first year of college. In my second semester, I was pretty heartbroken from a relationship, and then I went into pretty deep depression, and I was yeah, I was numbing myself with smoking weed a lot, and I was missing a lot of classes at school, and the ones I was going to, I was usually going pretty fried, to be honest. So I think honestly, a lot of people in university go through that, in college go through that. So that if you are in that situation yourself, just know that you're not alone, and that there's always someone that cares about you.
Yeah, reach out, because we're here. If you got nobody else in your corner, you can message us. I know it's kind of interesting, we've said this before, to get a unique perspective of three males talking about mental health, but this is the new normal. We want to make it the new normal.
Yeah,
definitely. So definitely reach out to us, because we do care. Even if we don't know you, we'd like to get to know you, right? So,
exactly.
Mental health is something that we're going to be talking about, not just on Bell Let's Talk Day or one day a year, right?
No, I've always actually found that, well, not to like put it down, like it's a great advocate and it raises a lot of money. It does a lot of great things, but it does put a false sense of like, oh, this day's for that, instead of us doing it every day, because it's something we need to work on as a society.
Yeah, well, not to shame on it all, like you said.
No, but yeah.
There's a lot of, you can't expect one person that's struggling with all this mental health to, hold it in for one day until,
they can make themselves feel better in one day.
And then it goes back to the same struggle. It's an everyday struggle, so it should be an everyday situation where we feel comfortable that we can talk about it. I have one question, though. I know you were talking about kind of your depressive state, and I do want to dive into that, but what age or when did you kind of start going to therapy?
I would have been still 18, but I was almost 19.
You never did any kind of counseling through the divorce or anything?
Oh, sorry, I did. Danielle and I, and my mom too, we all went to divorce care at the Baptist church in Coburg, and I didn't like going to it, but I loved I don't know if you know Nancy from the church. I think she might have passed away now. I'm honestly not sure, but
there's a lot of Nancys at a church, man.
Fair enough. But yeah, she was awesome, and she really cared about us, and so that did help ease that a little bit. But I think for the first year of it, it was just a really weird feeling, and kind of a feeling of being alone, I guess. But that was kind of back then, and then you slowly just get used to it more. And then, my lowest state was first year of college, second semester, and then I went to like 3 therapy sessions, and that was like a night and day difference in my mentality. And then shortly after that, my spiritual awakening began, and I just started being super interested in learning about that. And you guys know, when I start learning about something, I tend to be kind of obsessive with it. So
that's
an understatement. You dive down that rabbit hole, man.
Yeah. So after that,
he just fucking like rocket ship, fucking straight down.
Pretty much. But yeah. So I started learning about a lot of stuff with spirituality, and then I always kind of was into the conspiracy theories a little bit in high school, like learning about aliens or just whatever random stuff, because I'm just always curious, like, what actually goes on behind the scenes on Earth. And then when I went back for my second year of school, my mindset was just not with school at all anymore. Like, I was just really interested about learning that, and I'd find myself nights where, I'd supposed to be doing homework or studying for something, and it's like, I'd just be looking at conspiracy theories for like 3 or 4 hours, and I couldn't help myself. And then, thankfully, the college strike happened, and that gave me an opportunity to drop out, and then
you get your money back.
Yeah, that in itself. And then also, like, when I was in college, I never really had extra spending money. So then when I dropped out, it was like, this is shitty, but at least I have like some extra cash right now. I was making like a couple grand a month or whatever, so I thought it was pretty sick money at the time, and started learning about investments and stuff. And that was another thing, is like, I learned almost all the things I know about investing, like, I learned in a month pretty much. And I've learned more stuff about it like throughout the years, but the majority, like the principles with it, I learned in about a month. in a bit.
Yeah, but that's you with knowledge, just you diving into what you're learning.
And that's when I was smoking like a lot of weed.
Your interest.
I was smoking a lot of weed at the time, and that in itself did kind of start affecting me negatively. Because too much of anything.
Talk about that a little bit. Your struggles, kind of with, just with you were more of an avid like weed smoker than anything else.
Yeah, when I was 17, 18, I was hard into drinking. Like all of our friend group was, to be honest. And looking back on it at that age, like we were honestly all alcoholics. It
was fun. A weekend thing, man. Like, I know we. Some of us, and I've seen some snaps midday of the boys with a beer or a 2-4 or whatever open. But yeah, it was a time where like we took school for granted and took partying to the next level.
Oh yeah,
yeah, like we really partied. Like we were all drinking.
Yeah, because I didn't join partying with you guys until grade 12.
Yeah, it was grade 12,
and yeah, it was every weekend. And honestly,
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Oh yeah. My mom would come home and just be like, you're just an alcoholic at this point, like in high school. And it was just like, no, I'm not. Just do it on weekends.
Yeah, that legendary picture of the 3 cases of 2-4s that we're bringing in.
No, that was here.
That was here in your front door.
Yeah, we came back from college. This would have been probably the first year you were at school. And then you came back too.
One of my fondest memories was that party.
Yeah, was that the one where it was like Christmas time?
I think so.
That's where the ginger puked all over your floor and...
that was in the summer. That must have been after first year.
Maybe it wasn't.
No, there was snow on the ground in the picture.
Snow on the time, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so it was probably Christmas time then. Yeah, I remember that night I was coming home with Jamie and someone on the highway. We honestly shouldn't have driven home that night because it was really shitty road conditions with the snow and stuff. But someone spun out on the snow was built up on the side in the right lane, and they spun out. And I don't know how this is even possible, but they started coming backwards in the lane towards us. So we were about. Well, it was close to the passenger side of the car, but I may have saved his life kind of in that situation because I just stayed. I was only doing like 80 or something, but I just stayed calm and just swerved at the last second. And then I remember looking back, and I think they ended up going in the ditch. To be honest, but it was just like, what the fuck just happened? And how are you that bad at driving? They must have just spun out and just hammered the gas.
Probably.
That's my guess. But, yeah, I'll get more back on track here.
You're doing that a couple times.
That's all right. That's how we usually talk. We just kind of bounce around.
Yeah, no, I'm all good with it. Dude. Just let kind of more on the mental health side again.
So going back to that. So back when I was trying to cutting down on weed. So that was kind of a struggle, and that was causing a lot more of my anger to come out. And then basically since then, that's where I only started smoking weed at night, basically, and just smoking a little bit to help me go to sleep. And after reading conspiracy theories and stuff, they can be pretty depressing. But the reason they're depressing for me is that I believe not all of them are true, but a lot of the bigger kind of ones is I just have that inner feeling that they're true, and that's why the world's so messed up.
There's a lot of truth to them anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like that. I've said this probably a few times. It's like I'm running out of conspiracy theories. All of mine are coming true. Which was a cause of my depression last year, and it's like people just aren't seeing that there's this bigger, dark plan ahead for humanity. But I do believe we're gonna not let that happen. So I'm not trying to be doom and gloom here, but just being aware of those things is gonna, I think, be one of the only ways that we can really try and fix society. And one question I kind of pose to people is, why do you think poverty exists in the world? Like, it just doesn't actually make sense on a logical level from the amount of abundance of resources we have. That why are people starving?
Oh, it's just greed, right?
Doesn't add up at all.
Right, like more people are greedy, so other people have to do without because those people are greedy. But that kind of stems into why they do the things that they do, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's just they want to control us, more or less. But so just believing that stuff is true. And it's not something I can fight, really. You either believe that you have a inner feeling, whether you believe something is true or not. And I just feel that a lot of that stuff is true. Mm-hmm. But that's just when you arm yourself with that knowledge, then all we can do is try and share the message and try and make people aware of it, so we can try and make a positive change in the world, basically. And that's what we're trying to do here. But yeah, we don't want to. I'm not going to talk about any specific theories.
We don't need to get into any of that
on this podcast.
But that's clearly, something that's affected you and affected who you are. Because I can remember post-therapy or pre-therapy, let's say, or that worst year of your life, and you were a hell of a lot different of an entire person.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You had a lot more of the outstanding Taurus traits that a lot of them carry and possess. And then when you kind of came back from that, or went through that and dove into that, you became really depressed, like you said. But that changed your structure, your personality, and everything. And I know it's an ongoing thing that we just are constantly challenged with, if that's the right way to say it. But just talk kind of in the present moment. How do you get through everything of where you've come as a child, and the things that you went from not being aware of your mental health but still going through it, to being a teenager and starting to understand the world and kind of what it was, and experiencing anxiety that way. And now kind of being in the present, you've reflected, you're able to look back. What advice do you have for your younger self almost?
Just don't focus on things that are out of your control for the most part. And that was a big thing for learning about that stuff. Is that's where a lot of my anxiety comes from, is just thinking about the worst possible outcomes pretty much. And everything's still pretty open right now. It's up to every individual to decide what they want, more or less. But now I just don't focus on it and just focus on what I can control. But I do, last year for sure, I definitely felt called to try and spread that awareness to people. And I don't know if any of my followers actually end up looking at that stuff, but it doesn't really matter. Now I'm in a lot more positive place now, and a lot less anxious. But I think throughout my life I was always just kind of anxious about my future in general, as far as having a family and just that far in the future. That's what happens when you think a lot. You can think pretty far into the future and what the possibilities.
Well, and that's what anxiety is, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Wrapping ourselves in futuristic scenarios that may or may not cease to exist. And that's what life is. It's act or react. It comes down to our basic human instincts, which cause anxiety. Which for me, for someone that has dealt with it and been aware from it, from a really young age, it's really interesting to hear your perspective. So I really appreciate you sharing all of it.
No problem, man.
I know it takes a lot to kind of share it to the public. It's different, talking about it with your friends, but to go behind the mic and share that stuff, it's cool, man. So I applaud you for doing that, and thank you for diving into that depression. Yeah, give him a round of applause, everybody.
Boys. I was trying. I don't think there's much else.
No,
really
it's just really for me. I'm still stemming for advice. Listening to this whole conversation kind of in the background, I'd be wanting answers kind of at the end of this story. It's how do I go from here? I have a similar story as Nathan, but how do I go from here?
Yeah, really, just trying to be in the present moment, like I said before, and try to control what you can control, and just trying to spread as much positivity as you can, because that's how we fight against the system, is just uniting as a collective. And I think a lot of people think of fighting against the government and stuff as rioting and whatnot, but, you know, Tom MacDonald had that line in his new song about, you know, you can't fight violence with violence. I won't go into the rest of what the line is, but
it gets a little obscene, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit. That's why I like it.
No, but it's against that whole mentality too of like, you fight fire with fire, you create a bigger fire.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And
So it's just decentralizing really is the kind of the key to fighting against it, and just loving each other and caring about each other.
Yeah, you got that right. We'll keep loving. We'll keep spreading love. And we encourage you guys to do the same. If there's anybody out there that you know that may be struggling with any mental health issues at all, be it anxiety, depression, you know, whatever, you know, you think they could be struggling with, reach out to them. And it might be an instinct. You might see them post something on Instagram or Facebook that just doesn't sit right with your stomach. Act on it. Don't just sit on it and hope for it to go away.
Listen to this kid. He's done it for me many times. I just post a random thing on my Instagram story and he just immediately messaged me, "How you doing today? Like, I seen your story. What's up?" I'm like, what are you texting me for?
Yeah. No, you can be surprised how much a hello or a smile changes somebody's day, man.
Absolutely.
Especially when they're in those down days when they feel like the whole world's against them, where nobody's talking to them right now in life and they kind of feel alone. Be that person. If you're in a situation and you're listening to this right now, I really encourage you to be that person to change somebody's life or even just their day. It will change yours, and it will teach you so many valuable lessons about just being a genuine human being. But I think that's it for now. Do you want to close out?
Yeah, so just to close this out, just go. We are working on a website to get merch to you guys easier. So I think in like the next two weeks we'll probably have a little bit more on that. But for now, just go follow us on Instagram at Love Is For Everyone 2021. From there you can access our link tree and see everything else, our Spotify, our YouTube account. Also, we are on TikTok now. We just put out our first TikTok.
It's bad, but show us some love.
Yeah. It's also Love Is For Everyone 2021. Yeah, thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys have a wonderful week, and peace.
Cheers.